As you grow older, you realize that the number of friends around you gradually decreases. It's not because you dislike each other or have conflicts, but simply because each person's life path diverges over time. They slowly become part of a different world. Sometimes you think you haven't lost that friend, but in reality, you already have. Black Crystal warmly greets everyone. Don't be afraid of any relationship falling apart. Different paths are rare, but walking in opposite directions is the norm. Why can't close friends from the past avoid drifting apart? Before answering this question, I want to share a story with you. Long ago, on two different mountain peaks, there lived two monks. One was a fat monk, and the other was a skinny monk. Every day, both would descend the mountain to fetch water from the same stream. Over time, they became very close friends, often chatting happily while carrying water. 5 years passed, and one day, the skinny monk went down the mountain but didn't see the fat monk. The next day was the same, and after half a month, there was still no sign of him. Worried, the skinny monk thought his friend might be sick, so he decided to climb the other mountain to find him. When he arrived, he was surprised to see the fat monk leisurely practicing Tai Chi with another friend. The skinny monk anxiously asked if his health was okay and why he hadn't come to fetch water for half a month. The fat monk was delighted to see his friend and took him to the backyard, where there was a well. The fat monk explained that he had spent 5 years digging this well. Every day, he dug a little, and finally, half a month ago, he got water from it. Now, he no longer had to endure the hardship of fetching water daily. He had time to do things he loved, like practicing Tai Chi. After hearing this, the skinny monk quietly left. Perhaps, from then on, the two would no longer keep in touch. Listening to this story, do you feel a surge of emotions? Climbing mountains, carrying water, chanting scriptures, and spending 5 years together, only to realize that what the other person needed wasn't to climb mountains with you but this well. In life, a relationship often ends following this pattern. When directions and paces no longer align, that's when the relationship begins to fade. What's sadder is that relationships destined to fall apart can't be blamed on anyone. Was the fat monk wrong for silently digging the well for 5 years? Not at all. In his eyes, digging the well was his own business, and perhaps speaking about it would have invited ridicule. Instead, he chose to work silently and eventually achieved his goal. The skinny monk, who persistently climbed the mountain to fetch water, wasn't wrong either. He genuinely considered the fat monk a friend but didn't realize their goals were different from the start. People often say that as you grow up, you become the loneliest version of yourself. Indeed, as you age, more things naturally disappear. Don't dwell on it too much, as it's the nature of life. Birds and fish don't share the same path. Often, it's not because you're not good enough, but simply because you and they are not the same kind of people. Let things flow naturally. Don't stress over every relationship. Don't force yourself to befriend anyone, as people with similar personalities will naturally gravitate towards each other. The most important thing is to always be yourself. Don't forget to love yourself for anyone. Those who love you will love your true self. Flowers naturally emit fragrance. As long as you sincerely share, you will surely meet like-minded friends. Don't worry about people who don't belong to you. There was a young man from a wealthy family. Every time he hosted parties, many people came to drink and dine with him. One day, his father asked if he thought these people were his true friends. He confidently replied, "Of course." His father decided to test this. He told his son to message his 10 closest friends, saying he was in financial trouble and needed to borrow 100 million urgently. The young man said, "Just wait, they'll transfer the money in a few minutes." But the results surprised him. Among those who always called him their good brother, 6 didn't even reply. Calls and voice messages went unanswered. One person asked if his account was hacked. After confirming it wasn't, they said nothing more. 3 others used the tactic of having no money, directly saying they couldn't help. The young man was furious because he knew these people were from wealthy families, and 100 million was nothing to them. But this insignificant amount clearly revealed the truth of their friendship. At this point, the father called an old friend, saying he was in a bit of trouble and needed to borrow 100 million. The friend didn't hesitate, just asked for the account number and said, "Is a few tens of millions enough? If not, I'll find a way to add more." This friend, the young man also knew well, had saved 100 million over half a year, yet he was willing to help without hesitation. The young man fell silent. Don't boast about how many friends you have. In reality, as long as you're willing to treat people to meals, many will gladly follow you. But when you're down and out, see how many are willing to lend a hand. Only when you're in trouble will you know who around you are true friends or just passers-by. One afternoon, a sheep was playing alone on a hillside. Suddenly, a wolf jumped out from the bushes, intending to eat the sheep. The sheep struggled and loudly called for help, pleading for friends to assist. The cow, standing in the bushes, saw it was a wolf and ran away. The horse looked down, recognized the wolf, and quickly fled. The donkey paused for a moment, saw the wolf, and also disappeared. The rabbit, hearing the cries for help, ran even faster. At the foot of the mountain, the dog heard the sheep's cries and hurried up the hillside. It jumped out from the bushes and bit the wolf's neck. The wolf howled in pain and, taking advantage of the dog's carelessness, escaped. The sheep returned home, and friends gathered around. The cow said, "Why didn't you tell me? My horns could have pierced the wolf's intestines." The horse said, "You didn't remind me. My hooves could have crushed the wolf's head." The donkey also said, "Why didn't you call me? My bray could have scared the wolf away." The rabbit said, "You should have told me. I run fast and could have spread the news." Amid their noise, only the dog was silent. True friendship isn't about sweet words but about someone who can pull you up when you need it most. Those who surround you daily, flattering to please you, may not be true friends. Conversely, those who seem distant but always care silently, not flattering when you succeed but willing to help when you're in need, are true friends. Low-quality social interactions are inferior to high-quality alone time. Friends don't need to be many, just quality. At any stage of life, you can't avoid interacting with others. But if you learn to distinguish the right people, your life will only retain the valuable ones. When you have many valuable people, your career will naturally flourish. There was a wealthy Jewish merchant who, before passing away, called his two sons to his side and said, "I'm about to leave. You will face danger and be pursued. I have two contacts, each of you take one to seek help." Person A is a social connection of our family, we've helped them many times and owe them a great favor. Person B is a benefactor of our family, they helped us greatly when we were in trouble. Each of you choose one. The elder son thought Person A was more trustworthy since the family had helped them many times. Now was the time for Person A to repay. So he chose to seek Person A. The result was that Person A betrayed and killed him. The younger son chose to seek Person B, who had helped them before. Person B not only ensured his safety but also helped him start anew. So, those who have helped you will always be willing to help you again. As for those you've helped, don't expect them to always repay you. Those who hurt you will do so again. Therefore, those who can't stay, don't try to keep them. Even the best chain can't hold a dog that wants to leave. Kindness can be exploited, and sincerity can be trampled. If heaven ends a relationship for you, it's not to take away your happiness but because even heaven sees you've endured too much. It wants you to be free and will arrange for someone who sees you as their world to come to you. In fact, you don't need to say unnecessary words to unnecessary people, creating unnecessary emotions. Since everyone has different positions and goals, there's no need to strive for agreement or understanding. Don't bind yourself in someone else's heart, nor force others into your heart. When perspectives differ, a smile is enough. When thoughts aren't on the same level, respect suffices. In a forest, there was a little pig and a little dog. They were very close friends. One day, the little pig went to the little dog's house to play and met the little dog on the way. The little pig asked, "Where are you going?" The little dog replied, "I'm going to meet a new friend. Come with me. I'll introduce you." The little pig agreed. So they went to the new friend's house together. They knocked on the door. The one who opened the door was a little fox. After getting acquainted, the little fox said, "I have a dinner appointment with a group of friends. They're all top figures in this forest. You two come along. I'll introduce you to them." The little dog and the little pig softened and agreed to go. On the way, the little fox kept boasting about how great his friends were. The little pig and the little dog started thinking, from now on, we'll have support in the forest. When they arrived, the three knocked on the door and found that the little fox's top friends were a tiger, a lion, and a wolf. Without waiting for the little fox to introduce them, the tiger laughed and said, "Since you're here, why bring gifts?" When the little pig entered the kitchen, it was still thinking about what gift to prepare. Do you understand the meaning of this story? Ordinary people might not easily realize. A piece of advice for those with simple thoughts: never share all your personal information. Those who like to share everything are like the little pig. Sooner or later, they'll be betrayed by those they consider close or harmless, like the little fox, colleagues, or friends. They'll hand you over to the lions and tigers. Always remember the principle: if no one asks, don't tell. Even if someone asks, don't reveal everything. Some people, you see as friends, but they see you as a fool. If you tell a secret to A tells B tells C, eventually, your secret will spread throughout the forest. In the workplace, don't get too close to colleagues. Colleagues have significant interests with you. Today you open up to them, tomorrow they might make you worry. At work, never publicly reveal your weaknesses. Don't think the boss will value honesty. In fact, the boss will only see you as too naive, easily exploited, and incapable of big tasks. If you make a mistake, just realize it, no need to relate it to your personality or family background. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. When the host asked Tandy Lau about his shortcomings, do you know how he replied? He said, "My biggest shortcoming is being too punctual. In fact, I often arrive early, putting pressure on young people working with me." Listen, do you think he's talking about a shortcoming? Being punctual can't be a shortcoming anywhere. Even Andy Lau, such a big star, when speaking publicly, builds a positive image for himself. Let alone us ordinary people. When self-criticizing, learn to superficially criticize but actually praise. If the boss asks you to talk about your shortcomings, you can say, "My weakness is being too principled. I pursue perfection. I work too seriously." This way, you can build a positive image in the workplace. One day, a cat fell into a deep pit and couldn't climb out. It asked the pig above to help find a rope. The little pig said to the cat, "Cat, I'll throw the rope down." So the little pig threw the whole rope down. The cat sadly said, "You threw the whole rope, how can I climb up? You need to hold one end." Hearing this, the little pig jumped into the pit, firmly holding one end of the rope and said, "I'm holding one end now, is that okay?" The cat was still helpless but cried happily. Some friends aren't very smart but are worth cherishing for a lifetime. In this world, the warmest words aren't sweet talk but when someone gently says, "It's okay, I'm here when you feel tired." True friends won't mock your weakness or require you to pretend to be strong. You don't need to drive a luxury car to show off in front of them to hide your inner poverty, nor use high-sounding philosophical words to cover your lack of knowledge. We're all tired of living with masks. In front of true friends, you don't need to wear a mask. At a happiness-seeking seminar, 50 people participated. When they entered a room full of balloons, the host made a strange request. Each person received a balloon and wrote their name on it. Then, all the balloons were gathered and moved to another room. When the balloons were moved, the host asked each person to find their balloon within 5 minutes. Everyone rushed to search, bumping and pushing, causing chaos. After 5 minutes, no one found their balloon. The host asked them to stop and said, "Now, each of you pick any balloon and give it to the person whose name is on it." In less than 3 minutes, everyone had their balloon. The host said, "This is life. Everyone frantically searches for what they want, but no one knows where it is. The answer lies in helping each other. When you give others what they need, you'll receive what you want. That's the meaning of life." There's a small story like this. One snowy day, a little bird was about to die from the cold. A cow passed by and dropped a pile of dung on the bird. The dung was warm, reviving the bird. Not long after, a wolf passed by, dug out the dung, found the bird, and ate it. The lesson: those who throw dung on you aren't necessarily harming you. Those who pull you out of the dung aren't necessarily helping you. Sometimes, those you think are very good aren't truly helpful, and those who seem cold are willing to help when you're in need. Mo Yan once said, "Don't be afraid of any relationship falling apart." In 2021, when he won the Nobel Prize in Literature, he became famous worldwide. Many relatives from his hometown were jealous and spoke ill of him. Initially, Mo Yan tried to maintain the relationships, helping when he could. But his humble attitude only led to increasingly unreasonable demands. Finally, he decided to let those relationships fall apart, even blocking contact with many. Surprisingly, distancing himself from those relationships didn't negatively affect his life. Instead, he felt relieved. Don't be afraid of relationships falling apart, as it's part of growing up. Let go of what doesn't fit. Relationships that have reached their end, let them close. Daring to accept the collapse of relationships is also a form of growth. We can't keep all relationships forever. Let things flow naturally. When someone asks for help beyond your ability, don't agree. If they think you're not good enough or are dissatisfied, let them be dissatisfied. Not everything should be helped, and when you need to refuse, be decisive. Some people use emotions to make you feel awkward when refusing. At that point, you must stay calm because things you reluctantly agree to out of politeness often lead to regret later. Don't chase after a horse. Instead, use that time to plant grass. When spring comes, the lush grass will attract beautiful horses to you. Also, don't try to befriend someone. Use the time without friends to improve yourself. When everything is ripe, true friends will accompany you. Relationships built from crowds are often temporary. Only relationships built from character are lasting. Therefore, improving yourself is much more powerful than trying to please others. Relationships that require too much effort to maintain are often wrong. If you need to sacrifice too much to keep someone, that relationship wasn't meant for you. Relationships that make you tired should be let go. Your sincerity often goes unnoticed by others. A relationship without reciprocity is futile no matter how hard you try. Accept that some relationships need to end. It will help you live better. If you can learn to be a bit stronger, the one silently shedding tears won't be you. Kindness is good. But if you can't distinguish right from wrong and blindly be kind, is that still good? Since childhood, we've heard the story of the farmer and the snake. A farmer found a frozen snake on his way up the mountain. He pitied it and held it to warm it. When the snake revived, it bit him fatally and left. As he was dying, the farmer realized he shouldn't have saved the snake. In life, ungrateful people like the snake in the story are not few. When facing kind people, maintaining a kind attitude is right. But if you're soft-hearted towards petty people, that's your mistake. Every concession and compromise you make is taken for granted by them. They can easily find excuses to deny everything you've done. Remember, kindness to petty people is cruelty to yourself. Because you never know when they'll betray you. Don't hesitate to refuse others. Those who don't hesitate to make things difficult for you have no good intentions. When needed, decisively turn away early. As soon as you realize your interests are being infringed, escalate the issue to make others see your boundaries. Turning away at that moment is reasonable and justified. Turning away after a long time is seen as petty. For example, if you lend money to a friend once, twice out of politeness, and the third time you don't want to, not only were the first 2 times useless, but the third time you become the bad guy in their eyes. Another classic example is actress Sun Lee's story. She once sponsored a poor student, But this person lived luxuriously and had additional income. When Sunli stopped supporting, this person wrote a 6,000-word article accusing her and even threatened to ruin her career. This is the real-life version of the farmer and the snake. Fortunately, the truth came out. Otherwise, Sunli might have faced a barrage of online criticism. So remember, your kindness needs limits, your patience needs boundaries. If you don't learn to say no, you will have to endure the excesses of others. Excessive kindness only makes some people take advantage of you and take everything for granted. Understand that not everyone is grateful and appreciates you. Don't be afraid to offend others. Your kindness needs claws, your gentleness needs to be reserved for the right person. A truly strong person is one who speaks softly but acts decisively. If you have given in as much as you can and they still push you, bow your head, stand up straight and do not hesitate to respond. No matter who it is, how you treat me, I will treat you the same. That is both a rule and a courtesy. If kindness is not respected, let it fly away. Never let what you have left be only honesty and sincerity. Everyone likes honest people, but few truly respect them. The fastest way to resolve conflicts between people is to turn their backs. There is a saying that all the splendor in life eventually comes at the price of loneliness. Life is a journey that each of us must walk alone. A person's maturity is not shown in the ability to socialize but in learning to live in harmony with loneliness. When faced with loneliness, we are often confused, but after overcoming it, we will mature. Enduring loneliness is painful, but even more painful is facing yourself. Just like a doctor can operate on others, but rarely can anyone sew up their own wounds. Why do people need friends? Because people are afraid of loneliness. But if you cannot find peace of mind when you are alone, then you cannot truly possess friendship. This is a paradox. Pessimists often say that people are like hedgehogs, being close to each other hurts each other, being apart makes you feel lonely. We often call friends to surround us. Why? Because our souls are not